All right, guys, so we need to talk about Palantir, valuations for Palantir, earnings, all that other good stuff like that. So make sure you like the video if you like getting the truth out the hype, or at least like the video if you like Palantir's earnings, because I don't think there's a lot of complaints from us shareholders out there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, instead of just doing another fancy video, I'm going to give you guys the video from my group that I made shortly after earnings for Palantir. We actually listened to the call in real time. Obviously, that's more than an hour long there, that entire live stream. So nobody wants to sit on this thing for an hour. I'm not sure I could upload it over the course of an hour. But I put out this video afterwards, after I went back, listened to the earnings again, kind of went through everything. So that way we could have a frank discussion about valuation, what's going on at Palantir, what I saw in the earnings, and everything else of that nature, both good and bad guys. But I don't just blow, roses and sunshine up everybody's behind, in my group, just simply because, I don't know, reasons, whatever the case is. No, we talk about the truth in there. We definitely get down in the nitty gritty, which the earnings flash sale ends today for my group. And yeah, I'm sure there'll be somebody that'll complain about the fact that I have a group there, but I mean, go down there and check it out for yourselves. You can see all the buys in there where we were buying Palantir like crazy in the $6, $7, $8, $9 range, $10 range where we were buying it. After it turned profitable and fell back down to $7 again, and people were panicking, buying it up all then, even buying it last year, right around that $20 range or so. You had multiple opportunities just last year. So we've basically been buying it for 3 years now, under $20 or mid 20s, all the way down below. And I don't know, somehow I'm misleading you guys, or I don't know what I'm doing, or I don't know. I just, sometimes those are some of the comments that I see. You want to see it, it's all right there. That's what we do in the group, is to help identify undervalued assets and buy them, obviously based upon valuation, so that way you don't get stuck buying like you are today at over $100 instead, or right around $100. You're able to build out your position way down there, under $20 or so. That's where your position was built out. Then you get to enjoy rides like this. It's the pinned comment. I'll give you all the details here at the end, but I got something special coming for you guys in the group on Monday as well. We're going to be discussing SoFi, what's going on in the SoFi community, why are people freaking out, and all that other good stuff like that. It's definitely not for public consumption here on YouTube. So be looking for that here in regards to SoFi. But let's jump into the video right here. Let's discuss Palantir. And then obviously I'll give you all the details about joining my group after that. All right, guys. So I kind of wanted to go back, listen to the earnings call again, kind of condense everything here, kind of give you guys kind of some of my highlights for the call and everything else. Obviously, we watched the call live, got into various details throughout the call in there. Go back and watch that, or actually just watch the earnings on your own is actually probably the better thing to do. Like I always tell you guys, don't friggin' listen to anybody else's opinion on earnings or anything else of that nature. Listen to the earnings yourself, take your own notes, and don't, avoid reactions and everything else. So that way you learn what's going on in these earnings. You're able to interpret it, see exactly what the management team's saying. And that way it kind of also allows you to kind of have a lot of, kind of fill in the blanks per se, as opposed to having me fill in the blanks or anybody else fill in the blanks for you. Obviously, it's not necessarily what you want to do as an investor. You've got to learn to listen to these calls on your own. So please, please, please go back and listen to the earnings call itself. It was a great call overall. Obviously, you guys know, I don't think you can get much better earnings calls than that. The call was great. The numbers were great. Beats all the way around. I mean, basically you pick the number, and I'll tell you that it was probably great. And we'll talk about valuation and some other things like that here shortly at the end of this video. So to kind of condense this all and not just sit there and read off numbers to you guys, again, go back, look through the earnings, go back through the presentation and listen to the calls. You kind of do both of them there at the same exact time. That for me, I find that to be a little bit easier there to go through. So for me, there's 4 major things that I'm going to hit on right now for you guys. And the first one is that they will not sacrifice quantity over quality, which means growth is going to be steady, and they are taking a long-term view on this, guys. They're not thinking short-term profits. So you got to kind of keep that in mind, especially as we kind of go through Palantir, but they're not going to sacrifice quantity for quality. They made that statement repeatedly throughout the earnings call that they're just not going to do it. That's, basically they could grow faster, but they're not going to sacrifice that. They're going to get the right people, put them in the right spots, take the right amount of time to solve problems, solve issues, put the right solution in place for their customers, and then move forward. It's a very, very long-term point of view, not short-term point of view, not short-term profits, which is what most companies focus on because they want to get that next bonus. They want to get that next raise. Their job, and a lot of times depends upon it as a CEO. That's not how they're structured at all. That's not how they run the business, which means we may not get massive appreciation in the next year, but future years, it's going to come. And more importantly, they're not watering down the product as they grow into the future. Customers are going to remain happy and loyal overall. And this is why I've said from the start with this company, it's going to be a steady growth beast as a company. The fundamentals are going to be a steady growth beast. Now, yes, the stock price has skyrocketed, but the fundamentals were rock solid underneath, which meant if it's a nice, as continual of a line as you can get in terms of fundamentals, means the stock price was way down here for a long time before we got this rocket ship up, right? Where, we'll talk about valuation here in just a second, but that's kind of what happened there. That's why you have to treat stock price and fundamentals completely different. In regards to the fundamentals, it is a steady growth beast. That's how they're structured. That's how they operate. And they are not going to sacrifice quality for quantity. I believe I said that right. Maybe not. Yeah, they're not going to sacrifice quality for quantity just simply to add profits, basically thinking short-term versus long-term. Now, the second thing that was clear throughout this call was they have unlimited demand. And to be clear, they will not meet that demand. Let me say that up front right now. But they have an unlimited demand for their product that is actually growing, meaning that they can grow it as fast as they want. Right back to that quality versus quantity again. If they can get enough quality people in here, they have the money, they have the cash, they have the product, they have the profit margins, they have everything in line to absolutely grow as fast as they want to. They have unreal pricing power, guys. And they have that because basically there's an unlimited demand, but only so much supply. And they're the only supplier for this. So they can basically charge what they want to, which again, they could take a short-term approach and just start charging through the roof for everything, but they're not doing that. They're slowly, I can guarantee they're charging more. It's going to get more and more expensive. Alex has warned about it before, like, hey, get on them now because it's going to be more later on. All that sort of stuff he's warned about, but you can only do that if you have unlimited demand, which is exactly what Palantir has and proved once again on the earnings call. And that leads me perfectly into number 3 is that Palantir's lead is massive, guys. They have 20 years on the competition if there's anybody really trying to compete directly with them. I don't think there really is right now, and it will come at some point in time. There's no doubt in my mind. But for right now, they have 20 years on the competition. So what they are doing is incredibly hard, and it took them 20 years to get there. Alex perfectly articulated that in the call. Please go back and listen to it so that way you can hear specifically how he articulated that out. But it's hard and it's going to take time to get there, regardless of how fast AI and everything else is, evolving and moving. Well, guess what, guys? ChatGPT is now 3 years old and it's still not even close to its full potential yet. And that's 3 years later. Who knows when it will actually reach that point, much less print money and everything else, which none of us doing any of that yet. So I personally don't think the competition is going to take 20 years as the tech grows and increases, but it's not going to happen all that quickly either. I mean, is it 5 years? Is it 10 years or more? Nobody knows, but I can say this for sure, is that it's not on the horizon. That's for sure. Kind of another example of this that maybe will make a little more sense, especially if you're not as much in the software world, is Tesla FSD is kind of similar in terms of lead on its competitors, right? They have a substantial lead that, everybody that's involved with Tesla knows, hey, the competitors can't catch up anytime soon. It's just not going to happen. They have so many years, so much data, so much everything involved, can't catch up. Now, the big difference there, and let me be very, very clear about this, is Palantir product is already printing billions of dollars now every single quarter, and the demand is proven to be unlimited. Now, Tesla FSD will get there one day, but today, it's not there yet. It's not printing billions to the bottom line. We don't know if it will actually print billions upon billions of dollars quarter in and quarter out, and we don't know what the demand will be yet either. We don't know any of those sort of things for sure. With Palantir, we have tangible, actual earnings for years now in regards to this particular product and in regards to it putting not only having unlimited demand, but also printing billions to the bottom line. So we had it 2 years ago, actually, when you could buy the stock for $7. Now, another point that I want to make very, very clear, because I know it's something that's popular out there and it gets talked about, especially to us retail investors all the time, especially when it comes to growth companies. Think about this for a second. We had all that printing billions of dollars to the bottom line, basically an unlimited demand. We had that 2 years ago when you could buy this stock for $7. So everyone saying you have to pay for something before you even show tangible results just doesn't understand how Wall Street and investing works. That is not how it works at all. Proven out by Palantir, who was printing billions of dollars and demonstrated unlimited demand years before Wall Street finally gave it a big pop up just these past 6 months. There are very few instances where that is not the case and it just runs away and you can never buy it again. Matter of fact, I can't think of a particular time where that's happened, where something has hit, been a success, and the stock just ran away and you could never buy it again at a reasonable valuation. It's actually never happened. Go back to the iPhone, go look at what Apple did. iPhone launch changed the world. Well, yeah, obviously it looks great now, of course. But go look at stock journey and tell me how many years you had to buy the stock at what was actually a lower price than when it launched. And in the meantime, it was busy becoming the most popular phone of all time and something everybody had to have. It's just how Wall Street works, guys. Like it or not, that is the reality of the stock market. And the last point I want to make here, number 4, is Palantir took the long road and now it is finally paying off in regards to sustainable, incredible earnings. Now, remember, we talked about that. We knew this was going to be a slow growth beast, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're playing the long game. They repeated it continuously during the earnings that they're going to continue to play the long game, not play the short game. And they kind of poke fun a little bit at Wall Street too. In the meantime, all of them wanting Palantir to play the short-term game. And Palantir's like, yeah, we're going to do it our way. We're going to do it this way. And look at the results now because of that long-term, outlook and the long-term view of running the company. That's why I love this company. That's why I'm so heavily invested in it. It's because they do conservative accounting. And we're not going to get an accounting discussion here, but the accounting is incredibly conservative and they could be far more aggressive and make the numbers look far better, but they choose not to. They choose not to. And that is rare on Wall Street. It's the only stock that I own that's in that particular boat. They don't take shortcuts. They're not rushing. They're not sacrificing quality for quantity. None of that stuff. Just simply trying to make their clients money, which in turn makes us a lot of money over the long run. In the short term, well, hey, they're not making us a lot of money. Hey, their sales process takes forever. They're not necessarily charging the maximum amount they can up front or anything else of that nature. But clearly, we are finally seeing dividends on this. I think long term, we're going to see that as well. So when I think about this stock right here, short term, we're talking valuation right now and everything else. Short term, this stock is going to make me not a lot of money over the next year if I had to guess. Remember, short term for me also is anything under a year or so, maybe a year and a half. To me, that is short term. So if another stock goes up 50% this year, per se, another stock in my portfolio, it's going to be very hard for Palantir to get to $150 or so from that, from where it is today. It's going to be incredibly hard. Other stocks are going to have an easier time hitting that share price growth rate this year just because Palantir has run up so much. However, having said that, in the next 5 years, Palantir, I believe, is going to be very, very hard to beat, and it's going to be one of the biggest gainers in my portfolio. Like I said, in 5 years. 1 year, probably not going to be my biggest winner this year. 5 years, well, that's going to be a different story in my opinion, of course. All right, so as far as valuation goes, no matter how I slice it, no matter what multiple I decide to give it, the stock is overvalued, but it has been for some time now, guys. We have talked about this over and over and over again, that Wall Street can keep a stock at an irrational level for a long time. It's why shorting is so hard. It's why trading in and out of the stock is so hard. Think about all the different times, all the different YouTubers told you to get out of the stock at $7 because it was going nowhere, at 15 because it was guaranteed to drop down to 8, at 25. People selling out at 35, at 45. Guys, there are people that sold out just this past year, big YouTubers who have, huge channels, and they sold out at $60, $70 or so because they just didn't think this run could continue. And well, it looks like they didn't time that right out either. That's why I don't engage in those games. I don't trim positions. I don't do any of that sort of stuff. I just simply buy great companies and hold and add when they get undervalued once I built out my position. Keep it very, very simple. So I have to do some hard looking to get a solid number, but my guess is it's not going to be pretty like these earnings were, and that's okay, guys. That is perfectly okay. And this is why I tell you guys that until you've put in the work, have a plan, and understand valuation on a high level, the simple answer if you want to own a stock is just simply to DCA. I'll give you guys my price target when I get the number, but I just want you guys to know it's probably going to be ugly. And also go back and watch the video that accompanies my watch list so you understand the context and the why behind why I place the numbers and how I do it and all that good stuff and why that number is probably going to be an ugly number from here. That doesn't mean I don't believe in Palantir. It means nothing else like that. And it doesn't mean I don't think, like I just said, it's not going to be one of my best performers 5 years from now. But we're talking about price targets right now as of today, based upon the growth rates, based upon guidance and everything else of that nature. And I just don't think it's going to look all that pretty. Obviously, we'll see how it falls out over the next couple of days, how all the trading goes. I don't like to react and just create my price target right off of the post earnings bump up or crash down or whatever the case is. Give Wall Street a little bit of time here to digest it. Let me see where the valuation ends up falling out at once all the traders do all their trader things and all that other garbage goes on. Sure, get all that crap out of the way. And then we can see what, the big, more institutional players are playing, because they're not playing any of those earnings games either. So it gives me a little bit of a better idea as to where the stock lies. And then I can give a much better idea as to where a valuation would be and all that good stuff like that. So I'll give it to you guys whenever we get there, but that's kind of my earnings thoughts. I'm very, very excited about Palantir. I'm very, very excited about the future of Palantir. Obviously, like I said, if you didn't have all your shares built out and everything else, obviously you're in a tough spot right now. That's okay. It's still going to be a great stock to hold long term. That's why that planning and everything else is so key. So get into those courses. Make sure you're diving in there. Make sure you're jumping on Trips' coaching calls and stuff like that. So that way, or our Q&As or whatever the case is, post it right there in the group. So that way we can help you kind of work through that process to get the right valuation, to get the right plan set up for you. So that way you can be in a spot where, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, whatever your whole timeline is, 10 years from now, whatever your whole timeline is, you're going to be a very, very happy shareholder in regards to Palantir. So, and if you wanted to see all my buys in Palantir in the, under $10 range, under $20 range, basically we've been buying Palantir for years in the group there. Plus you get 5 free courses, you get free coaching, you get direct access to me. We do live Q&As weekly. You get to be a part of the best 6, 7, and 8 figure Discord out there. See my complete watch list with price targets. Jump on earnings calls live with me where we discuss the earnings, discuss what they're saying on the call, so that way you understand what is going on. What is Wall Street looking for in earnings? Not hype, not reaction. What is actually institutional owners thinking whenever they say this on an earnings call or that happens on an earnings call, whatever the case is. You get all that with your membership. So make sure you check out the pinned comment, see if our membership's right for you, because the earnings flash sale is ending today and then the price goes up. And click this video here if you want to see exactly what I'm buying in this market, and click here to see my exact plan for this market. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.